Bill O'Reilly, host of No Spin News, is on the phone with me now. Bill, always great to speak with you. Thank you, sir.
Blake, thanks for having me in.
It was a remarkable rise for Jimmy Carter, Bill, when you think about it. United States Naval Academy as a kid, or shortly after a kid, I guess. Gets the family farm in Georgia, says, you know what, I'm going to give politics a try. He goes from being a state senator to the governor to the Democratic nominee for president to the 39th president of the United States. How'd he do it, Bill?
Well, it's a rainy night in Georgia tonight because Jimmy Carter is one of the few presidents who stayed local after he left office and went back to his hometown of Plains. Most chief executives move on up to more affluent areas. Carter didn't. He was a man of the people. I think that's true. His time was very similar to our time now. And if you read Confronting the Presidents, my book that I have out now, you see that Carter was a beneficiary of Americans being very suspicious of the federal government. And that came after Richard Nixon's resignation over Watergate and Gerald Ford, who stepped in as president, pardoning Nixon. And the country was really down on the federal government. So they elected a populist governor very few people knew anything about. And he was a very good campaigner, very affable, and he looked like a good guy. And he beat Ford just barely. But it was a remarkable presidential victory because he came out of nowhere. And then when he took over as president, the problems set in because that is the most difficult job on the planet.
Yeah.
And it takes an awful lot of experience to run this country. But back then, the mentality of the people was about the same as it is now. However, I think that on this day, most loyal Americans, most fair-minded people respect President Carter and are sad that he's no longer with us.
It's the separation, Bill, as I've been saying, which you just alluded to, the separation of the personal and the political, right? How can you obviously, when you talk about Jimmy Carter or any president or anybody who ascends even close to that rank, you think of the politics, but on a day like today, you obviously think of the personal and the many remarkable traits of him and his wife and how he was able to impact this country and others, both during the presidency and especially after it. How do you remember Jimmy Carter, the person?
Well, I had a couple of dealings with him, one very early on as a reporter local in Dallas, Texas. I interviewed him during the 76 campaign.
What was that like?
Field. He was very slick.
Huh, what do you mean?
He came off as a story that I don't often tell, and it's funny. He comes off his private jet. He's in Texas to campaign, and he's got his garment bag slung over his shoulder. So I'm standing at the bottom of the stairs waiting for him to come down. My cameraman is there. And he comes down. He knows my name. Hey, Bill, how are you? I said, I'm okay, Governor. Can I help you with the bag? He goes, no. So he does the interview holding the garment bag over his shoulder. And, you know, it's the usual Q&A.
Right.
What do you want to tell Texans? Dun. And then after, he goes on his way, and I'm talking to the cameraman, and there's an aide, a Carter aide standing within earshot. And I said, you know, it's unusual for a guy who's running for president to carry his own bags. Huh. And then the aide goes to me, there was nothing in the bag. It was all for show.
All for show, huh?
Man of the
That's
people.
Great. Yeah.
And I got a laugh out of it. I didn't think it was devious or anything. You look at all these guys try to put themselves up. But after he left the presidency, he was friends with a guy named Millard Fuller, who ran Habitat for Humanity. And I know Mr. Fuller, or I knew him, he's passed, very well. And Fuller and Carter teamed up. and did a tremendous amount of charitable work for Habitat for Humanity, which still exists today. It's a very good charitable organization. You never hear a scandal about them. They build homes, obviously, for people who are poor. And Carter devoted a lot of his time to that, and a lot of his time to try to get peace in the Middle East. He's very big on that. And he was also selected by the United Nations to go around the world and watch elections to make sure they weren't crooked. So all of that speaks very well to Jimmy Carter, the man.
Did you, Bill, that story from local news, I did local for a while, you did local for a while. You get the sense every now and again when someone has it in politics. We speak to these folks all the time, and you can get a sense they have it, they don't. That story when he came down the plane with the bag and you spoke to him, he knew your name. Did you get the sense there this guy's going somewhere?
Well, I was a young reporter at the time, and my job was to get as much information out of all of these people as I could. And I wasn't a commentator as I am now. So I wasn't even thinking about that.
Okay.
I knew by the polling that it was a very close race. And I also knew that the majority of Americans did not like the Nixon pardon. So we knew that. And that gave Carter a huge advantage. So it was almost like Trump 2020. The people voted against Ford rather than for Carter because they really didn't know much about Carter.
Right.
It was a hope vote. And, you know, Carter was not a good president. I mean, anybody who knows anything about history realizes that. But he tried. I have a message of the day I posted on BillO'Reilly.com. I said, look, this guy tried his hardest.
Right.
He just didn't have the scope or the advisors. I mean, this press guy was 28 years old.
Right.
Jody Powell. I mean, these guys were, and the Washington swamp despised them. It was amateur hour. Even though Carter was a Democrat, all of the, lifers in the federal government, they didn't like Carter coming in from Georgia. So he had everything going against him.
Hey, Bill, I got to run a break, but will you hang around for a few on the other side real quick, if you don't mind?
Just for you, Blake. I'm doing it for you.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. Bill O'Reilly, other side of the break. Stay with us. Our coverage continues. Live look, the Carter Presidential Center, Atlanta, Georgia, as the country mourns and honors Jimmy Carter. The Carter Center announcing today that the former president, the 39th president of the United States, has passed away at the age of 100 years old. Bill O'Reilly, host of No Spin News, rejoins me now. He is on the phone with us. Bill, thanks for sticking around. Appreciate it as always. It's an interesting time right now in Washington. As you know, it's the changing of the guard, 22 days left for President Biden. President-elect Trump comes in on January 20th. And now there's going to be a state funeral at some point, probably in the next week or so, give or take, where there will be most likely Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, all together at that funeral. And I wonder what you think we'll see from the most exclusive club on this planet, the group of living presidents, in this time of transition.
They'll all be appropriate in their comments. That's not hard to do. It'll be very cordial. There's not going to be any politics on display at all. Again, these are guys that understand who they are as far as representing the United States of America. So I expect a very dignified funeral, some soaring rhetoric from Mr. Carter's support staff. They'll pick a couple of speakers, perhaps his son, and it should be, something that all Americans pay attention to. And the new generation, they don't even know who Jimmy Carter was. And that's a shame. That's why I wrote confronting the president and said, you got to know about your country. But I expect that the United States will rise and the funeral will come off as very dignified, and it's a worldwide event. There'll be, everybody around the world would be watching it.
How do you think the younger generation should think of Jimmy Carter?
Well, you have to separate the man from the job, if you want to be honest about it. And it's not really appropriate for me to get into the job at this point when a guy passed away today. But you should know your history if you're a loyal American, no matter how old you are. And that takes some time, and it takes some research, and you read about who these people were, what they did. Jimmy Carter wrote a lot of books himself, and some of them were very good. I have an extensive collection of his books signed by him. And he was a patriot. That's the bottom line on Carter. He wasn't a venal man. He wasn't in it for anything other than he loved his country. He wanted to do good. He tried to do good. And he did some good. But in the age that he was in power, he just didn't have enough experience to get out of the difficulties that the country was in.
We're looking at Jimmy Carter right now, Bill, with his work for Habitat for Humanity. I spoke to the CEO, John Reckford, about an hour ago, and it was remarkable to hear from him basically talk about how Habitat for Humanity went from, you think of Habitat for Humanity as this massive organization now, and it is, but when Jimmy Carter got involved, it was not. And he was one of the main figures, if not the central figure, in helping Habitat for Humanity grow over the many decades. And it was just part of his charitable work and part of his life after office. And on the day like today, where you think about Jimmy Carter, the patriot, as you just talked about, and we pay our respects to Jimmy Carter, his life after the Oval Office, how does Bill O'Reilly view his life after the Oval Office?
Well, when you devote yourself to charitable enterprises, and they're successful, obviously, that is noted in the history books. And what was interesting about Governor Carter was that he never pursued money at all.
Yeah.
And most presidents, when they leave office, as everybody knows, sign colossal speaking engagements, and they become very wealthy very fast. Gerald Ford himself went from Grand Rapids, working-class guy, to Palm Springs, California mansion. Mm-hmm. And they don't do anything crooked, but they're on the boards of major corporations and are well compensated for whatever they do. Carter never pursued the money.
Right.
Never. And so that will go down as a major part of his legacy. So you could make an argument that his life really didn't peak in the White House. It peaked after the White House because of all the good that he did.
Bill O'Reilly, I got to leave it there. Hope you and yours had a Merry Christmas, and I wish you a Happy New Year. Bill O'Reilly, thanks for being with us tonight on our News Nation
Special
Report.
Me,
Appreciate it.
We'll see you soon, Blake.
Yep, you got it. See you in the new year.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.